Hey, are you thinking about moving to Seattle, Washington? Maybe even the suburbs, maybe even Renton? Well, in today's video, I'm going to have you follow me into my computer. We're going to look at a Google map so that you can kind of get a lay of the land. I want to show you what Renton is close to, the main highways that run through it, some fun things to do, some different neighborhoods, and what's within, proximity of the boundary of Renton, and then what is close by with not too far of a drive. So if that sounds of interest to you, let's get after it. Hey, if this is your first time to my channel and you want to know about moving to Seattle or the suburbs around it, like Renton, then subscribe to my channel and tap the bell for notifications so that you can be the first to know about the current market in Seattle, Washington. Hi, I'm Kelsey Anderson, and we get contacted all the time from people just like you looking to make their move to Seattle, and we love it. So whether you're looking to move now or in a little while, go ahead and contact me using the information below in the description, and I would love to help you make that smooth move to Seattle. Now, like I said, let's get into my computer and see what's around Renton. Right, so now we're in my computer. Welcome. You can see Renton, Washington is highlighted by those red dots on the screen. And Renton is located about 15 miles southeast of Seattle. So here you can see Seattle, and Renton is just southeast of it. You can either take I-5 to get to Seattle, okay, or you can go up 405. 405 is the main highway that runs through Renton, and you would take 405 north up to 90, and then you'd go west to Seattle. So a couple different ways to get to Seattle, but really close. If you work in the city, or if you work in a nearby suburb that I'll go over in just a moment, then you have a great location in Renton because you're really close to a lot of things. As I was saying, Renton is close to a few other cities around here, so I want to show you that. Bellevue is just north of Renton. Newcastle is just north of Renton. Issaquah is just east of Renton. And then south of Renton, we've got Kent. So down here is Kent. So those are the nearby cities. Another place I should just quickly mention is Tukwila, because that's where your probably your nearest major shopping mall is going to be at South Center. So if that's important to you, that's also really close. All right. Next thing I want to show you is the Seattle International Airport. It's called SeaTac, and that is located right here. That's only about 8 miles from Renton. Takes you about 10 to 15 minutes in the car, depending on where you're located, but really nice proximity to SeaTac, especially if you are someone who has to fly regularly for their job, or maybe you like to travel a lot. That's pretty handy being so close. Renton borders the southern part of Lake Washington, which is really awesome because you have that lake life really close. There's beaches right there. If you want to live on the lake or have 180-degree views of the lake, you can live in Kennydale, which is a neighborhood I'll get into a little bit later on in the video. But pretty cool to get a little bit better price point on real estate living in Renton versus Newcastle or Bellevue or Seattle, but still get to enjoy the lake. Even if you don't live close by, it's still a beautiful views driving by or going down to the lake. So as I said, we've got Lake Washington right here. And then over here on a little bit more east is Lake Sammamish. So all you would do is you'd hop in your car and you would just travel up 405 and hop on I-90, and boom, you are at Lake Sammamish. So if you are someone that likes to boat, paddleboard, kayak, canoe, or even just play in the water like my kids love to do, then you're gonna love having two lakes within less than a half an hour drive to either one, most parts of those lakes. Okay, so that is a really cool draw. Other things that are within a driving distance that might have piqued your interest thinking about moving to Seattle or around the Puget Sound lowlands is our proximity to really great hiking and camping and things of that nature. So if I just go again north on 405, that main highway that takes me through Renton, okay, and connect to 90 going west, I hit Issaquah, and then I'll hit Snoqualmie and North Bend. That's where a lot of small mountains in Issaquah start, and then even bigger mountains as you go out to Snoqualmie and Crystal and Alpental. So right here in Issaquah, we actually have what we call the Issaquah Alps, and that's Squawk Mountain, Tiger Mountain, Cougar Mountain, and you can get a lot of really great hiking in. You can go up Poo Poo Point or Rattlesnake Ridge, and hour and a half little hike up, and you have amazing views of Eastern Washington. It's just absolutely stunning. Then if you want to continue down, like I said, another, half an hour to Snoqualmie, they've got big mountains. You can have you got your ski resorts, your snowboarding. You can tube down the hill. If you're a talented skier, you might take on Alpental. And then just a few minutes further is Crystal Mountain, which is pretty much our nicest ski resort here in Washington. Might not be quite like Whistler up in Canada, but it is really nice. Lots of other really great camping destinations. We've got forest all over Washington. And again, you're within 1 to 2 hours of overnight hiking and biking. If you like to mountain bike, trail run, all those things are just in your backyard. And last thing about sort of the greater area, if I zoom out even a little further, you will see that we are not that far away from the ocean. Especially if you're used to coming from a landlocked state. You come from Renton and you just drive down this way, you can go straight out to the coast. It just takes about 2.5 hours. So if you're just wanting that ocean air with those big waves and you just sort of want to escape the city life, it's really quite easy to get out to the ocean. It's only 2.5 hours away. So you can even do it in a day. I want to show you some of the different schools that are in Renton, and then also some of the restaurants. These are big deals to families and people that like to eat out. So there are a few areas that I want to point out here. So first of all, let's start with schools. So there are 16 elementary schools scattered throughout Renton. They've just built another one, so definitely a growing population. Renton has 105,000 people, and that number has doubled since the year 2000. 15% increase just since 2020. So lots of new construction coming to Renton. It's nice to have a place that the price point is a little bit better than surrounding areas like Issaquah and Kirkland and Bellevue and Seattle. The median home price right now is right at about $676,000, which is still not that cheap, but it's not bad considering your proximity to Seattle, right? Being only about 20-minute drive from Seattle, but also having a little bit better price point and the opportunity to have more land, which we'll get into here in a little bit when I talk about the neighborhoods. Stay tuned for that. So we have, like I said, we have about 16 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, and 3 main high schools in Renton, with a 4th one being a choice school that's going to be a better fit for some kids. A lot of families will also be on the border of 2 other neighboring school districts. So you'll want to pay attention to that. If you end up buying a home on, I'm going to kind of just give a ballpark here, but if you buy a home on like this part of Renton, so sort of the northeast, you're in like the East Renton Highlands neighborhood, This is going to go actually to the Issaquah School District. So all this might be the Issaquah School District. Again, you're going to want to check specifically house to house to see which district it is in, because sometimes boundaries can be a little wonky. And then down here in the Fairwood area, okay, this is going to go to Kent School District. So I just want to highlight some of the schools in Renton, but just know that just because you buy a house in Renton doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be in the Renton School District. But the good news is the Issaquah and the Kent school districts are outstanding districts as well, with Issaquah achieving a lot of awards for being pretty highly rated as far as their education and achievement of their students. So the high schools here in Renton, I'm just going to give a ballpark place. So here we've got Renton High School, and that is down more in the downtown area, close to the Landing and Southport and some neat places downtown. And then over here is Lindbergh High School, and then the other major high school somewhere around there is Hazen High School. So those are the three main high schools, and I would say they're pretty well kind of scattered through the main parts of Renton. Like I said, the southern part of the Renton boundaries, a lot of them are in the Kent School District, so that's why you don't have a high school too far south. All right, now we're going to jump into some different neighborhoods, and then I will make sure to end with the really great restaurants that you're not going to want to miss in Seattle. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to focus on probably just about 4 different areas of neighborhoods and kind of talk about the price point that you might be looking at in 2023, the status of those home prices. Okay, so starting with, let's go big or go home. Let's start with Kennydale. So Kennydale is the most expensive neighborhood. You've got houses that are starting around $1.5 million that go all the way up to just over $3 million. The reason the price point is so high is those homes are able to look out on Lake Washington, and some of them have 180-degree views of Lake Washington. So that's pretty outstanding. And a lot of these homes were gutted because the original homes were built in the 1950s, 1960s. And so people wanted to just kind of start fresh and build a pretty remarkable property. So that's why those price points get up there. So that is Lower Kennydale. Very expensive, but really nice. A more moderate price point, another popular place to buy a home is the Highlands. Okay, that is located right up. This is sort of a hill coming up to the Highlands, given the name the Highlands, right? So if you think about the lake and then sort of up the hill is the Highlands, and those houses are going to be closer to $500,000 to $800,000, give or take, depending on if the house has been reconstructed or if there is a new neighborhood that's recently gone up. Then those prices could be a little bit different, but that is a little bit better of a price point. You're still really close to the freeway, have access to great Renton schools, and some of the properties even have a little bit of a yard. The other neighborhood just east of there that is very popular is the East Renton Highlands. This is going to be closer to Issaquah, and so that's when you see a lot of properties will definitely have more land. The properties may have close to a half an acre, or even more. So if you're looking for a place that is a little bit cheaper because it's Renton, you might be surprised to know that you can get some pretty sweet pieces of land out there. And keep in mind that some of those houses are going to feed into the Issaquah School District. Homes out there, again, range. Some of them, a lot of them were built in the 1970s and 80s, but there are some neighborhoods in that area that were put in after 2005, 2010. So you are going to have that piece if you want. Again, those are going to be smaller properties, but newer builds, less old growth trees, but they have neighborhood parks and other kind of community features that make it pretty appealing to families. Another neighborhood is Fairwood. Okay, because you're a little bit further south, further from the city, you are going to have a better price point. Houses over here, pretty nice houses, can be anywhere between $600,000, and depending on the size of the house and the lot, can go over $1.2 million. But that's pretty much where you're going to see it. Lots of just residential family style homes, right? 4 or 5 bedroom homes. Can fit your whole family, maybe even grandma and grandpa too, if you want. So that's a really popular neighborhood. They've got their own Fairwood golf course, Fairwood greens out there. They've got gyms and classes and restaurants and things like that. Just because Fairwood is a little bit far from the landing and from the Highlands, where I'm going to show you in a moment, where most of the kind of well-known restaurants in Renton are located. So they've got their own little community going on in Fairwood, but that's another great neighborhood. All right, the last thing I want to show you is there are some homes, neighborhoods right here in downtown Renton. It's just a little bit of a different feel. It's kind of like being in a small town where you're walking down the street and there's a coffee shop, and maybe there's a Mexican restaurant, and then there's a strip of a bunch of houses, and then a high school. And they're older houses, single family homes, kind of one after the other, but they were built back in the mid 1900s, and so they definitely have that classic feel. So if you're interested in that, and those price points are definitely more reasonable than some of the homes and neighborhoods off to the east in Renton, so might be something worth looking after. The other thing is that downtown Renton is planning to rebuild a lot of their old structures that have been around since the 1900s, and they have a lot of plans to sort of get the community back together. They do have a lot of community events in downtown Renton, but they really want to do a better job just making it a place for anyone in Renton to sort of come down, enjoy meals, and just kind of get it a little bit more updated and with the program. All right, last but not least, let's get into where the food is. And I want to show you one last cool place to eat. So make sure you stick around to the end. All right, so I'm going to zoom in here. Yeah, so the best places to eat, I would say, are definitely in the landing, which is right here. That's where you have Toreros, you've got Korean, you've got Mexican, sushi, all that kind of stuff. Family restaurants like Red Robin and Wild Finn. You also have the Red House, which has recently changed ownership, but is the most quaint little sweet restaurant in downtown Renton. If you come up to the Highlands, where I've talked about a few of the neighborhoods, you've got Vince's Italian Restaurant, you've got all types of Mexican, you've got sushi, you've got, oh my gosh, Vietnamese, you name it. I love J Berry's pizza, Vince's Pizza. There's just so much to choose from. So, wow, Google really just gives it all to us, huh? You can see all the things available in the Highlands. The last piece I want to share with you is some really great restaurants down at the water, and not everyone knows about this. A lot of Renton residents have never even been here. So right here at Southport, Dock and Drink is a newer restaurant that is literally right on the water. It's right down by where Boeing 737 planes are in their final set of construction phase, and you can just bring your boat right up to the dock and enjoy some beverages, some food, what have you. The Water Table is a restaurant up on the second level of the Hyatt down there. So just really cool spot to enjoy a meal. Highly recommend if you ever come through Renton. And then also at Kennydale Park here, which is really popular 57-acre park right on the water. You will find Ivers and Kid Valley right down there too. So those are my favorite spots to eat in Renton. Let me know in the comments another great restaurant that I should include in my video next time. All right. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope it provided you some value. If it did, I would love for you to stick around for my next video. So don't forget to hit subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so that you can be the first to learn about the current market in Seattle, Washington, or the suburbs around it. I hope to see you soon around town. See you later.